Summoning Impure World Reincarnation, the ultimate forbidden jutsu that breaks the laws of nature itself. Created by Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage, this technique binds the soul of a deceased person to a living vessel and brings them back to life under the caster's control. Alright, so here's how insane this is. The reanimated shinobi return with their original abilities and regenerate from damage. Orochimaru used this technique during his invasion of Konoha, reincarnating the first and second Hokage to fight the third. Kabuto Yakushi later perfected it during the Fourth Shinobi World War, creating an army of legendary dead shinobi that included Madara Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha, and countless others. The technique was deemed forbidden because it defies natural order and requires killing a living person as a sacrifice to serve as the vessel. Once bound, the reanimated soul is trapped and forced to obey commands. The only way to release them is through sealing jutsu, or by the caster releasing the technique. During the war, hundreds of powerful shinobi were brought back and controlled like puppets, making this one of the deadliest techniques ever created. Dead Demon Consuming Seal, the most devastating sealing technique in existence. This powerful sealing jutsu was developed using Uzumaki sealing arts, and it summons the Shinigami to seal away a target's soul. Okay, so check this out. When activated, the caster's soul is partially separated from their body, and the Shinigami appears behind them, visible only to the caster. The Shinigami then thrusts its arm through the caster's body to grab the target's soul and seals both souls inside itself. The fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze used this technique to seal half of the nine tails inside Naruto while sealing the other half along with himself. The third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi used it against Orochimaru, managing to seal away only Orochimaru's arms, which left him in constant excruciating pain and unable to use jutsu for years. The price is absolute. The moment you perform this technique, you're guaranteed to die. Those sealed by this technique cannot be reincarnated with Edo Tensei, making this seal one of the few ways to permanently prevent someone from being brought back. Izanagi, the forbidden Sharingan genjutsu that allows the user to control the boundary between reality and illusion. This technique casts an illusion over reality itself, letting the user decide what becomes real and what doesn't. When Danzo fought Sasuke, he used Izanagi to survive fatal blows by turning his injuries and death into illusions, while his attacks remained real. Here is the crazy part. Unlike normal genjutsu that affects the target's senses, Izanagi affects the user themselves and their immediate reality. If you get stabbed through the heart while using Izanagi, that injury becomes an illusion, and you continue fighting unharmed. Madara Uchiha programmed Izanagi into his right eye before his death after fighting Hashirama, and years later, Black Zetsu activated this preset Izanagi to bring him back to life as part of Madara's resurrection plan. The technique uses both yin release and yang release to manipulate what is real and what is illusion. The Uchiha clan forbid this technique because the cost is brutal. Every use permanently blinds the Sharingan eye that cast it. Danzo bypassed this by implanting 10 Sharingan in his arm and using Hashirama's cells, giving him extended usage by cycling through each eye. Without Senju DNA, the technique lasts only moments, making each use incredibly limited. Izanami, the forbidden genjutsu specifically created to counter Izanagi's abuse. When Uchiha clan members began misusing Izanagi to avoid consequences and alter outcomes to their benefit, the clan developed Izanami to punish and correct them. This technique traps the target in an infinite loop of events inside their mind. Now here is where it gets wild. The technique works by connecting two moments where the same physical sensations occur, creating a loop between them. Itachi Uchiha used this against Kabuto Yakushi, and even though Kabuto had sealed his own eyesight to avoid genjutsu, Izanami still worked because it doesn't rely on the victim's vision. The target remains completely motionless in the real world, while their mind replays the loop infinitely. The only way out is for the victim to accept their true self and acknowledge the real results of their actions, which is exactly why it was designed to save those who abused Izanagi. Like Izanagi, using Izanami permanently blinds the Sharingan eye that cast it. The Uchiha forbid this technique both for its cost and because it has a built-in escape route, making it risky to use against true enemies in battle. Multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu, Naruto's signature technique, and a forbidden jutsu due to extreme chakra consumption. Unlike regular Shadow Clone Jutsu, which creates a few copies, this technique creates hundreds or even thousands of clones. Alright, so here is the deal. Each clone gets an equal portion of the user's chakra, meaning if you create 100 clones, your chakra is divided 100 ways. This extreme chakra consumption is exactly why the technique is classified as forbidden for shinobi without massive chakra reserves. This technique poses serious risk of chakra exhaustion. Naruto can use it safely primarily because he is an Uzumaki with naturally massive chakra reserves, with the 9 tails sealed inside him providing an additional chakra source. During training, he creates thousands of clones to speed up his learning. Since when clones disperse, their experiences and memories transfer back to him. This lets him accomplish years of training in weeks. The technique is only written in the Scroll of Seals, Konoha's collection of forbidden jutsu. That's heavily guarded by the Hokage. 8 Inner Gates, the ultimate taijutsu technique that grants overwhelming power at the cost of the user's life. The 8 gates are chakra limiters in the body that restrict chakra flow to prevent people from damaging themselves through overexertion. Opening them forcibly removes these limits, one by one, granting exponentially increasing power and speed. Might Guy mastered all 8 gates, and when he opened the final gate, the Gate of Death, against Madara Uchiha in his 10 tails form, he achieved devastating levels of power. Okay, real talk. Guy unleashed techniques like Evening Elephant and Night Guy that were powerful enough to nearly kill Madara, who acknowledged Guy as the strongest taijutsu user had ever faced. The user's blood boils and evaporates from their pores, creating a crimson aura that resembles flames. The body continually heats up until it's literally cooked from the inside out, reducing the user to ash. Guy only survived because Naruto used 6 paths healing power to save him, though he was still left permanently crippled and wheelchair-bound. Each gate opened provides exponentially more power, but inflicts severe damage. Opening all 8 gates guarantees death, as the body burns itself from within. Rock Lee learned to open 5 gates during his youth, demonstrating the technique can be passed down through rigorous training. Living Corpse Reincarnation, Orochimaru's horrifying path to immortality. This technique allows the user to transfer their soul into another person's body, completely taking it over. Orochimaru developed this forbidden jutsu to achieve his dream of learning every technique in existence, something impossible in a single lifetime. Here is how stupidly broken this is. To perform it, Orochimaru reveals his true form as a massive white snake made of smaller white snakes, abandons his current body, swallows the new host, and drags them to a mental plane where he dominates their soul. The previous body is left behind while Orochimaru's consciousness takes full control of the new vessel. Orochimaru targeted Sasuke Uchiha for his Sharingan, spending years preparing him as the perfect vessel. He used this technique on several hosts throughout his life. Each stolen body grants Orochimaru access to their abilities and Kekka Genkai. The souls of all previous hosts remain trapped inside Orochimaru in a suppressed state, and if his chakra drops low enough, they can resurface. As seen when Sasuke's low chakra allowed Orochimaru to emerge during his fight with Itachi. Orochimaru can only perform this technique roughly once every 3 years, because the host body eventually begins to reject his soul and forces him to transfer again. Outer Path Samsara of Heavenly Life Technique, the ultimate revival jutsu that brings the dead back to life. This Rinnegan technique summons the King of Hell, who releases souls from the afterlife and returns them to their bodies. Nagato used this to revive everyone killed during Pain's attack on Konoha. Now, this is where everything snaps. The user dies because the technique completely drains their life force. It's a guaranteed death sentence. The revived individuals return with fully restored bodies and health, as seen when Kakashi was brought back from death. Madara's entire plan revolved around having Nagato use this technique to revive him, which is why he implanted his Rinnegan into Nagato as a child. When that plan failed, Black Zetsu eventually forced Obito to perform the technique on Madara during the war. Obito only survived temporarily because Black Zetsu attached to his body, and Naruto used 6 paths power to stabilize him, but he still died from it later. Wind Release Rasenshuriken, Naruto's devastating jutsu that attacks at the cellular level. This technique is basically a Rasengan infused with wind chakra that creates countless microscopic chakra blades. When it hits a target, these blades sever their chakra network and cells at a level invisible to even the Sharingan. Based on Kakashi's analysis, Tsunade medically prohibited Naruto from using this technique because here is the thing. In its original form, the technique severely damaged Naruto's own cellular structure and chakra pathways. The microscopic blades damaged him from the inside with each use. Tsunade specifically ordered Naruto never to use it again to protect his future as a shinobi. Kakuzu, an Akatsuki member with 5 hearts and multiple elemental affinities, couldn't regenerate from Rasenshuriken's cellular damage, showing how stupidly powerful this jutsu is. Naruto solved the problem after mastering Sage Mode, which allowed him to throw the Rasenshuriken instead of holding it in his hand, eliminating the self-inflicted damage. Once he could use it at range, it became one of his most devastating attacks, capable of obliterating opponents by attacking them at the cellular level. Ninja Art Creation Rebirth Strength of 100 Technique, the ultimate medical forbidden jutsu, mastered by only Tsunade and Sakura. This technique requires the strength of 100 seal, a diamond mark on the forehead, created by storing vast chakra over years. Sakura spent 3 years continuously storing chakra to form the seal, something even Shizune couldn't achieve due to the extreme chakra control required. Okay, so check this. When released, the seal's markings spread across the user's entire body, and any wound sustained heals instantly and automatically without hand seals or conscious effort. Tsunade was impaled by Madara Suzunu's swords and healed rapidly. The technique enables continuous regeneration from injuries as long as chakra remains. During the war against Madara, Tsunade was bisected at the waist and still survived through the technique's healing. Mastering this technique grants the user the exception to break the 3 existing rules governing medical ninjutsu, which prohibit them from engaging in direct combat. This makes Tsunade and Sakura the only medical ninjutsu permitted to fight on the front lines. The technique also massively amplifies physical strength, allowing both users to inflict catastrophic damage with their chakra-enhanced strength, destroying entire battlefields with single punches. Earth Grudge Fear, Kakuzu's nightmarish forbidden jutsu from Takigakure. This technique transforms the user's body using hundreds of thick black threads. Kakuzu used this technique to extend his life for decades. Here is the insane part. The threads allow him to steal the still-functioning hearts of other shinobi and integrate up to 4 extra hearts into his body, storing them in animal masks sewn onto his back. Each heart grants him that person's elemental affinity. As long as one heart remains beating, Kakuzu cannot die. He can survive being decapitated, dismembered, or impaled because the threads instantly reattach severed body parts. The masks containing his spare hearts could detach and form independent creatures made entirely of threads, each capable of unleashing devastating elemental attacks. Kakuzu used fire, wind, lightning, and water release through his stolen hearts, while his original heart controlled earth release, giving him access to all 5 nature transformations. The threads were durable enough to serve as armor and could be used for binding enemies. Cursed Seal of Heaven and Earth, Orochimaru's forbidden ninjutsu that grants power at a terrible cost. These seals are the most powerful of Orochimaru's curse marks, providing tremendous power boosts. When Orochimaru branded Sasuke with the Cursed Seal of Heaven during the Chunin exams, it gave Sasuke enough power to match Naruto's one-tailed cloak during their fight at the Valley of the End. Now here is where it gets spicy. The seals provide massive increases to physical abilities and chakra levels when activated. The seals are designed to make users dependent on Orochimaru and can eventually allow him to take over their bodies. The seals have multiple stages, with higher stages transforming the user's body dramatically, with features like wings and changed skin color. Anko Mitarashi also bore the Cursed Seal of Heaven. Orochimaru placed these seals on many of his followers to create potential vessels and subordinates. The seals spread across the body when active, strengthening Orochimaru's connection to the user. Mutually multiplying explosive tags, Tobirama's apocalyptic, forbidden jutsu designed for use with Edo Tensei. This technique attaches an explosive tag to a reanimated body, and when it detonates, it summons more explosive tags that also explode, creating a chain reaction. When combined with Edo Tensei's regeneration, the explosions continue as the body regenerates, creating an ongoing barrage. Tobirama used this during the 4th Shinobi World War, and the technique was so catastrophic it forced opponents to retreat. The explosive power multiplies with each detonation. This makes the technique capable of leveling battlefields when used with Edo Tensei's regeneration. It's classified as forbidden because when combined with immortal reanimated bodies, it creates a sustained explosive assault that's extremely difficult to counter. Twin Snake Sacrifice Jutsu, Anko's last resort technique that guarantees mutual death. This jutsu binds the user and their target together, ensuring both die simultaneously. Alright, so basically, the user performs the technique with their target, sacrificing themselves to take down their opponent. It's a suicide technique used only when the shinobi absolutely must eliminate their target at any cost. There's no escape once the binding is complete. Both the user and target die together, making it the ultimate sacrifice play. Anko Mitarashi, who learned this technique from Orochimaru, considers it her final option when facing an opponent she cannot defeat through normal means. The jutsu represents the ultimate commitment, trading one's own life for the absolute certainty of taking down the enemy. Human puppet technique, Sasori's forbidden technique that converts human corpses into puppets. This technique allows the user to preserve a dead body and convert it into a puppet. Sasori created a puppet from the third Kage that could use iron sand techniques. The technique is forbidden because it desecrates human remains and uses corpses as weapons. Sasori's eventually converted his own body into a puppet, maintaining only a living core containing his heart. This granted him extended life since the puppet body didn't age, though he could still be killed if his core was destroyed. The technique represents one of puppetry's darkest applications, treating human bodies as tools rather than respecting the dead. Kotoamatsukami, Shisui Uchiha Ultimate Mangekyo Sharingan Genjutsu, that manipulates someone's thoughts without their awareness. This technique is so powerful, it can influence people at a level that makes them believe the new thoughts are their own, and here is where it gets unreal. Unlike normal genjutsu that can be detected and broken, Kotoamatsukami operates without the victim knowing they've been affected. Shisui planned to use this on the Uchiha clan leaders to stop their coup against Konoha, which would have prevented the Uchiha massacre. Danzo stole Shisui's eye to gain access to this technique. The technique has an extremely long cooldown period between uses, though Hashirama cells can reduce this. Itachi possessed Shisui's other eye and programmed it to activate automatically if someone used Edo Tensei on him, which allowed him to break free from Kabuto's control during the war. The technique manipulates people's thoughts while leaving them completely unaware, making it one of the most dangerous genjutsu in existence.